Hello wine people, in this video I will explain how to properly store and serve your wine in the best possible condition. On the end I will answer 10 WSET example questions that you can expect if you come to a WSET course. If you find this video helpful and informative, please consider subscribing. So let's go! So what we will be talking about: wine, how to store wine properly, wine service, common wine faults, alcohol and health, and on the end we will cover 10 WSET example questions that you can expect if you come to a WSET course. Wine, how to store wine properly. First of all, why to store wine properly? Well, the reason is very simple. You want to drink your wine in the best possible condition, and in order for the wine to show its best, it needs to be stored in a proper condition. In the worst case scenario, if you don't store wine properly, the wine will go bad. In that worst case scenario, the wine will not taste at its best. Three things to remember when storing wine. You can think about storing wine as storing wine as for us is sleeping. So we need certain conditions in order to sleep well. Wine needs certain conditions to be to show and keep its qualities. So three things to remember is temperature, light and heat, and the way that wine is stored, horizontally or vertically. Regarding temperature, wine best conditions is to be around 10 degrees Celsius, for that temperature not to vary too much. For example, places where it's a very bad decision to store your wine is, for example, a kitchen. Kitchen can vary in temperature depending if you're cooking or not. So have a place where the temperature is constant and cool around 10 degrees. Light and heat. Light and heat can affect the wine to taste, to lose its freshness. So store wine in conditions that where there's no light. Horizontal or vertical placement of the wines. If your wines are with natural cork, closed with a natural cork, then definitely you need to store them horizontally. The idea is for the liquid to be in contact, for the wine to be in contact with the cork, so the cork is always moist. When the cork is moist, it doesn't dry up and it doesn't crack. If it cracks, your wine will definitely be oxidized. Wines that are closed with a screw cap, you can store them horizontally, vertically, it doesn't make a difference. Wine service, we will talking about temperature and glassware, opening still and sparkling wine, appearance, aroma and taste, keeping a wine fresh when you open a bottle of wine and you don't want to finish it. So regarding temperature, there's 4 temperature ranges that we consider when drinking wine. You don't need to remember the exact degrees, but just remember the terminology, and the terminology is well chilled, chilled, slightly chilled, and room temperature. So well chilled is below 7 degrees, chilled is between 7 and 10 degrees, lightly chilled is between 10 and 13, and room temperature is around 15 to 18 degrees. So which wine is served at which temperature? Here on the slide you can see that sparkling wines are always well chilled, sweet wines are also well chilled, light to medium bodied white wines are chilled, medium to full bodied oaked white wines are lightly chilled, light bodied red wines are lightly chilled, and medium to full body reds are served at room temperature. So regarding sparkling wines, Prosecco or traditional method sparkling wines. Regarding the sweet wines, usually this is Tokai or Sauterne or similar wines. Light bodied wines like, for example, Pinot Grigio, Sauvignon Blanc, something that's nice and light and simple. Medium to full body wine, usually Chardonnay or wines that are more complex and oaked, are served at 10 to 13 degrees, so a little bit warmer. The idea is for the wines to be to be able to develop its flavors. If the wines are too chilled, they don't really show the complexity. Then light body red wines can also be chilled. The idea is light body wines are usually light in tannin, so if you chill these wines, this lower temperature will not affect the taste and texture of the tannin. And then fuller body wines that are usually richer, fuller, higher in tannin and more complex, they're served between 15 and 18 degrees. And if I can recommend always something, especially for the fuller body wines, I would rather have the wines be a little bit chilled maybe, and then for them to come to the room temperature, than wines to be too hot and alcoholic. And then for the white wines, definitely chill them well, and then if they're too chilled, they can still come to the room temperature while you're drinking them. Regarding the wine glasses, there's so many wine glasses out there. And also, just for me to mention for the service temperature, also, I mean, this is guidelines, recommendations, but everything that we talk here, please consider guest preference. So guest preference comes first. So ask the guests how they like their wines and adjust to their needs. Wine glasses, there's so many wine glasses today, and it's a very interesting topic. Here we're gonna cover the basics, and maybe have a separate video just for wine glasses. So this is how wine glasses look for different wines. So we're considering a white wine glass, a red wine glass, a dessert wine glass, and a sparkling wine glass. Usually the glasses for white wines are smaller. They have a smaller bowl, more narrow on the rim. The idea is to concentrate the flavors and aromas of these wines. Red wines usually require a bigger glass, a bigger bowl, in order for them to develop their complexities. For sweet fortified wines, this is a glass that you will serve this kind of wines, but you need a glass where you can actually swirl the wine a little bit and enjoy it in its complexity. And then for sparkling wine, you have usually a champagne flute, which is great if you want to enjoy the bubbles. But me personally, I like a white wine glass like this one on the picture, where I can actually enjoy the complexity of the wine, especially if you're drinking a traditional metal sparkling wine. How to open a bottle of still wine? I mean, this is a mystery. I see so many. This is really some basic stuff that we should do. Opening a bottle of wine is not like fixing a car. You don't need to be that skilled. But I see so many people that they don't open the bottle of wine properly, and they are afraid to open a bottle of wine. And it's very simple. So, but you need to have the right tool. So the right tool is a wine opener like this one on the picture, that has a handle, a screw, a worm, a knife, and then this lever is very important. You should have a wine opener that has two levers, a lower one and the upper one. And these wine openers are very cheap. They're 3 to 5 euros or dollars, and they're very important. You can get a very cheap wine opener that can break your bottle. So invest $5 in your $5 to $10 in your wine opener. So how to open a bottle? There's few things to consider. So first of all, when you cut the foil, usually wine bottles are covered with foils. These foils are made from aluminum or plastic. Sometimes you're going to find wine bottles covered with wax, but here we're going to address the normal foil. So usually what people do, wine bottle has two necks, upper and lower neck or lip, doesn't really matter. The proper way to cut the foil is at the bottom lip, at the bottom part here, like on this picture. Why you don't want to cut it on the top is because, you know, if you cut on the top, the wine can actually get in contact with the foil, and you don't want that. So you're going to cut it at the lower lip. You're going to use your knife for this. Then when you remove the foil, you're going to see the cork. What you need to pay attention when screwing the cork is to screw it in the middle of the cork. Don't screw it somewhere on the side, because this can break the cork. And then when you screw it inside, you want to screw it almost until the end of the screw, not all the way, because if you go all the way, you can pierce the cork on the bottom, and then the cork can actually crumble inside the wine. Then when you do that, you have this lever of the wine opener is very important. You're going to use the upper lever to hold it on top of the bottle. You're going to pull it until the end, and then you're gonna use the lower lever to put it again on the glass of the bottle, and then pull it on until the end, and your wine will be opened perfectly. How to open a bottle of sparkling wine? Opening a sparkling wine, I can tell you, it can be a very dangerous thing, because these bottles, they hold a lot of pressure, and then if you open a bottle of sparkling wine improperly and not carefully, you can actually injure yourself or somebody else. So things to remember is, first of all, always have control over a bottle of sparkling wine. A few things that you need to pay attention to is and that can release the pressure that is inside the bottle is actually to have your sparkling wines well chilled. When you're opening them, you're opening at the angle around 45 degrees. This makes the pressure of the wine not go directly into the cork, but into the neck of the bottle. And then when you're opening a bottle of sparkling wine, the proper sommelier way to do it is with a knife. So you cut the foil on the bottom of the cage. But you know, if you're just opening a bottle of wine home, then you can use usually the foils, they have this tip that you can just peel off. When you remove the foil, you have this mousselet or wine cage, and you always unscrew it 6 times until you don't unscrew this mousselet. The wine is protected from popping out. When you unscrew the mousselet, you always 100% of the time need to keep your thumb, your hand on top of this mousselet, because sometimes these bottles can just pop. Sometimes they require a little bit of working in order for them to open. But it's crucial for you to understand that you need to control the popping of the bottle, because this cork can come out very fast and it can injure somebody. And then on the end, the way that you're opening the bottle, if the cork doesn't come out on its own, which usually it doesn't, you need to screw you need to rotate the bottom of the glass. Don't rotate the neck and the cork, rotate the bottom of the glass, and then you're gonna feel the pressure and the cork coming out, and then you want to open the bottle without sound. Yes, of course, if you're celebrating something, then let it pop. How and why to decant a bottle of wine? Well, first of all, there's few reasons why to decant a bottle of wine. One of them is if you have an old bottle of wine that develops sediment, so you want to remove this sediment from the wine. You want to remove the wine from the sediment. nothing will happen if you eat the sediment, but it's aesthetically and it's not pleasing. And the second reason, if you have a young powerful wine, when you decant this young powerful wine, it allows for the wine to mellow down, to soften the tannins, and to open up. And then the third reason is just to give a little bit more value for money to your customer. So if in the first case, if you have this old bottle of wine, you need to manage it more carefully. It means that usually these older bottles of wines they lay horizontally for a long time, and this deposit is on the sides. So you don't want to move this bottle too much. You don't want the deposit to get inside the wine. So you need to manage it very carefully, and then place it in a wine basket. This wine basket allows for you to open the bottle without too much riddling of the bottle. You open the wine in the basket, you remove it carefully from the basket, and you pour the wine from the bottle inside the decanter over a candle. This candle serves for you to see the deposit when you're pouring the wine inside the decanter. So when you see the deposit on the neck of the bottle, that is the time when you should stop pouring. And this is usually on the end. Maybe you will have a little bit of wine left in the bottle, but usually you can pour the whole thing and leave the deposit inside the bottle. And then if you're just having a young powerful wine, then you can you don't need to, there's no deposit, you don't need to be as careful, and you don't need a candle. You can just open a bottle of wine normally and just transfer it inside the decanter. Why should the guest check the wine? There's several reasons. So when the guest orders a bottle of wine, you come to the table, you present a bottle of wine, you show the guest the wine that he ordered, specific brand, grape variety, vintage, and this is the moment where the guest actually confirms that that's the bottle that he ordered. You don't want to start opening a bottle of wine without guest's approval, because maybe you didn't hear the order properly, and then you're going to open a bottle of wine and the guest will tell you, this is not the wine that I ordered. When you open the bottle of wine, proper way to serve the wine, to serve the wine to the guest first, for him to check several things. First of all, this checking of the wine the purpose is not for the guest to see if they like it or not. Liking or not the wine, that's a different story. And this is a topic that if you're recommending a wine, you should know what wine the guests like, and then make recommendation on that. The purpose of the guest tasting the wine is to see if the wine, first of all, is good, that it doesn't have any fault, that is the proper temperature, and then when everything is confirmed, when everything is okay, you pour to the rest of the guests, and then you pour the wine to the host on the end. Sometimes will happen that you're going to open a bottle of wine and you don't want to finish it. There is two main ways to keep the wine fresh when you have a open bottle of wine. Cheap version is to have these silicone caps like here on the bottom, and this silicone cap, this is a vacuum system, means that you're going to put the silicone cap on top of the bottle, and you're going to vacuum out, you're going to take out the air from the bottle. And then also a good recommendation is to keep these wines inside the fridge. White, red, doesn't really matter. Don't vacuum sparkling wines. Okay, you're going to remove the CO2. This low temperature in the fridge will slow down the oxidation process. So this wine can be fresh for up to a week, no problem. And then if you have, for example, a more expensive bottle of wine that you know that you're not going to finish it for a longer period of time, or you want to try it several times during a longer period of time, you have a blanket system, and the most common is Coravin. It's a little bit more expensive, but if you're really into wine and you do this kind of this way of tasting the more expensive wines, this is a great way to do it. And also, even wines that are opened with Coravin, my personal recommendation is to keep the wines in the fridge. This, I know I open wines with Coravin for several bottles, like 30 more bottles, and I kept them in the fridge for 6 to 12 months, and the wines were still fresh. So this is a blanket system. So what happens, you actually, Coravin allows you to pour out the wine, you stick a needle inside, this needle takes the wine out of the bottle, and also inserts inert gas like argon or nitrogen that covers the empty space in the bottle and protects it from oxidation. Common wine faults: TCA, trichlorolanosol, or the other term is corked wine. It gives this damp cardboard kind of aroma. TCA is a type of mold that can be found inside the wineries, in barrels, usually it's in corks. So this is something that happens. Oxidation, closure failure. If the wine gets oxidized, it will lack freshness in a mild sense, but if it's really oxidized, it will change color and it will smell stale and oxidized. VA, or volatile acidity, turns wine. It's a bacteria that reacts with oxygen and turns wine into vinegar. Heat light exposure, similar like oxidation, reduces the freshness of the wine. And then Brettanomyces, or Brett, it gives this barnyard funky aroma in wine. In mild cases, it gives complexity. In extreme cases, it's considered a fault. Alcohol and health. Is wine healthy? Maybe, maybe not, but definitely you should drink it in moderation. You should always consume food and water with wine. Drink responsibly, especially, and serve responsibly. If you see that your guest had too many glasses of wine, advise them and ask them if you would like to call them a taxi. Wine has alcohol. Alcohol can affect your health, can become addictive. So be aware of that. Alcohol affects our behavior, so be mindful. Alcohol consumption is regulated by alcohol. If you're also don't drink and drive, and in some culture, alcohol and wine is offensive and it's not allowed, so be mindful. You ready for the questions? So what statement is correct? Poor storage can create faulted wines. Wines mature well in extreme of temperatures. Wine sealed with a screw cap should be stored on its side. Bright light helps a wine retain its freshness. The correct answer is A. Poor storage can create faulted wines. Which degree is generally accepted as room temperature? 6, 12 degrees, 18 degrees Celsius, 24. The correct answer is C, 18 degrees Celsius. Which type of wine is best served in a flute? Sparkling wine, dry red wine, dry white wine, fortified sweet wine. The correct answer is sparkling wine. Enjoy the bubbles in the flute. Which wine is best served lightly chilled? Complex white wine, sparkling wine, light white wine, complex red wine. Correct answer is A, complex white wine. When opening a bottle of sparkling wine, one should always hold the cork secure while loosening the cage, hold the bottle at the angle, turn the bottle, not the cork. All the above. The correct answer is D, all the above. When decanting aged red wine, why should it be held near a light source? It helps prevent the sediment from being agitated. It helps bringing the wine to the room temperature. It helps with seeing when sediments collect in the neck. None of the above. The correct answer is C. It helps seeing when sediment collects in the neck. Which wine is best at room temperature? Complex white wine, sparkling wine, light white wine, complex red wine. The correct answer is D, complex red wine. Aromas of damp cardboard and muted fruit flavors are indicative of a wine that has been in contact with a cork contaminated with TCA, a wine that has been unintentionally exposed to oxygen by a failed closure, a wine that has been damaged by exposure to heat or sunlight, a wine that has thrown sediment from a prolonged aging in bottle. The correct answer is A. A blanket system, what does it do? Chills a wine to proper serving temperature, adds layer of gas to protect remaining wine from oxygen, is a decanting method that effectively allows a wine to breathe. None of the above. The correct answer is B. Adds a layer of gas protecting remaining wine from oxygen. Which statement below is correct? Alcohol affects behavior. Alcohol can be addictive. Alcohol consumption is regulated by law. And D, all the above. Correct answer is all the above. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. I hope it was fun and informative. Please consider subscribing if you did not so already. And please let us know if you have any questions. And I'll see you in the next video.